Gunslingers, the Wild West. From 1850 to 1890, the Old West had little in the way of government law or police. Men would carry guns on them to protect themselves. Some were outlaws, and some were the lawmen who tried to stop them. Good aim and speed with a gun and a willingness to pull the trigger would make them famous. Today we call them gunfighters or gunslingers, but back then they were called gunmen or shootists. Let's look at some of the famous individuals who gained a reputation for their exploits as gunslingers. Wild Bill Hickok, law enforcement. Wild Bill Hickok was a frontiersman, Army scout, actor, and lawman who helped bring order to the frontier West. His career as a gunslinger started on the wrong side of the law, killing twice and being put on trial twice, and being released both times. Hickok was elected sheriff of Velho County, Kansas in 1869. His reputation as a gunslinger continued when he killed 2 men in gunfights within his first month. In 1871, Wild Bill became Marshal of Abilene, Kansas. This was a dangerous town. During his shootout with saloon owner Phil Coe, Hickok killed Coe before he could fire a shot at him. Hickok then accidentally fired 2 shots at his deputy, Mike Williams, who he mistook for an outlaw and killed him. He would regret this accident for the rest of his life. In 1876, in Deadwood, South Dakota, Wild Bill Hickok, who had become a regular poker player at Nuttall and Mann Saloon with his back to the door, was shot and killed instantly by Jack McCall. The cards he was holding at the time were a pair of black aces and a pair of black eights, which became known as the Dead Man's Hand. Billy the Kid, hired gun. Billy the Kid spent most of his short life in and out of jail. He was a gunslinger in a feud between 2 factions in which both sides stole from and killed each other. Billy the Kid would participate in the Lincoln County War in New Mexico on the side of Englishman entrepreneur John Tunstall and the vigilante gang called the Regulators, who formed after Tunstall's murder. They were in conflict with the gunmen who supported Dolan, a businessman who had opposed Tunstall. After the end of the conflict and his escape, Billy the Kid, whose real name was William Henry McCarty, was accused of killing a number of men and became a fugitive. In 1878, the governor of New Mexico offered safety for Billy if he surrendered. However, the district attorney turned on Billy once they had him in custody. Billy escaped from jail, but 3 months later was shot by Sheriff Pat Garrett while sneaking into a house at night. Jesse and Frank James, train robbers. Jesse James was a bandit who was sympathetic to the Southern cause. He and his brother Frank fought against Union soldiers in the American Civil War and made raids on anti-slavery towns. After the war, they robbed banks and formed the James Gang. After robbing more and more stores, stagecoaches, and banks, the gang moved on to robbing trains, gaining a high price on their head and becoming nationally famous. When the gang tried to rob the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota in September of 1876, Cole, Jim, and Bob Younger were all captured and given life sentences. However, the James boys escaped. Jesse wanted to keep robbing banks and was assisted by cousins Bob and Charlie Ford. Jesse was killed when the disloyal Bob Ford, who now wanted the reward money for Jesse James's bounty, shot him in the back of the head in his hotel room. Wyatt Earp, lawman. Wyatt Earp made his name as a famous lawman in several Wild West towns and earned the reputation as one of the toughest gunslingers of the Old West. His most famous showdown would be in Tombstone, Arizona. Wyatt Earp and his brothers Virgil and Morgan and their friend Doc Holliday took on the McClory and Clanton brothers, who were cattle smugglers and horse thieves. The Earps were seen as a threat to their illegal activities. During the shootout, the McClory brothers and Billy Clanton were killed. Wyatt wasn't wounded, although Virgil and Morgan were. Today, the shootout is known as Gunfight at the OK Corral. Subscribe to see more history videos. Get your copy of Simple History, The Wild West, out today.